I really do recommend this book because even though this was written pre-2020 election, pre-pandemic, it gives a lot of really good, it explains a lot of what is going on, and it puts a lot into perspective because especially if you're kind of newly red-pilled or newly kind of awake to the truth of how government works and the media, it gives a lot of really, I think, important context. And of course, if anybody reads your Wikipedia or anything the mainstream media will read about, oh, he's fringe, oh, he's a spy, and it all kind of makes sense. It's like
let me comment on that because I have to give full credit. And yeah, Wikipedia is garbage too. So there's a very accomplished journalist, one of the last few true investigative journalists. He's written amazing books on bin Laden and other topics. His name is Rich Miniter. And he gave an interview when I was in the White House to some mainstream media. And they said, you're friends with said Gorka. Well, how do you respond to those who say, he's fringe, he's extreme? And Rich, in his classic style, probably, over the smoke of a large cigar, said, which one of the people is in the White House as deputy to the president? Is it the quote unquote journalist, or is it the person he is calling fringe? You can't be fringe if you're working in the West Wing. And this is just how distorted the bizarro world is that these quote unquote journalists have created.
Oh yeah, people call me fringe. I'm like, I tell jokes. Relax. Like, why are we spending time taking out a comedian? I want to know, who do you think is the most...
Sorry, let me don't forget your question, but let's talk fringe. Here's a little anecdote from second week in the White House. So there's a team of bookers, lovely ladies who would book members of the administration to do media interviews. And, they're trying to manage, hundreds of requests every single day for different members of the cabinet and deputies like myself. And so they have to prioritize them, which news channel gets first bite on an issue. And I went into their office in the EEOB in the Eisenhower building, just across from the West Wing, to manage my requests for the first 2 weeks. And I walk in there, and there was this whiteboard on the back wall, and it had all the big shows, Tucker, Hannity, Maddow, all down the list, with figures behind them. And I looked at those numbers, and they were viewing figures. So how many people watched each show? Because that's how they prioritize it. If this show has less viewers than that show, well, they're not on the top of the list for interviews with members of the administration. And I looked at the numbers, and I said to the booker, how many zeros have you taken off those numbers? What's the real figures? And she said, no. Those are the Nielsen audience figures for those cable TV shows. And I looked at it again, because I had no idea. I mean, I'd been on media, but I wasn't analyzing size of the shows I went on. Are you kidding? That's when I realized. So I don't know if you know this. The most popular show in America is Tucker's, okay? On a good night, when he does something really big, he interviews President Trump or whatever, his maximal audience is 5 million people, okay? We have 320 million in America. On an average night, on a good night, he's doing 4 million. Do you know how many people watch CNN?
Like, I don't know, less than a million?
Yes. So when we were in the White House, when we boosted their figures because President Trump was, their wanted figure number one, the best night for those sad cases like Anderson Cooper was 700,000. 700. I've got a radio show that's just 3 years old, less than 3 years old. I've got 3 million listeners for 3 hours every day. So why do we even talk about these people? Rachel Maddow, the same thing, significantly less than 1 million. And here's the good thing. CNN, since President Trump sadly left office, has lost more than 40% of its viewership because it's Russia, 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 but he's gone. So what are we going to talk about? So, we need to talk about how morally corrupt they are. But at the same time, Chrissie, we have to understand nobody's stinking watching them.
Mm-hmm. It's sad. It's they couldn't wait for him to get out. Oh, things are going to calm down now. Things are going to be back to normal. And they're obsessed and they can't let him go.